after much here comes the back. And the patch plus the kill Tempest landed.
Boy, and the Puntalon Swain gonna go in for the kill, and that is gonna be Demigod.
Teleport also comes in as well. Nocturne with the Royal. The gap in like to secure the end. Okay, there's a flash in. And Pickups. Habol dito. Wow, the damage.
Welcome back mga kaibigan sa Garena LOL Collegiate League powered by Lenovo. Challenge what you know. But before we get into what will be Game 3 for today, we'll be introducing ourselves first. Aussie Arctic at your service, fam. And of course with me is Vulcan. And of course this is once again gonna be our third game right now. Back to back actually ngayon ang games ni USTL. Yes. So, you know, Ligers have a great momentum. Kakapanalo lang nila sa Game 2. Syempre, high spirits ngayon sila ngayong Game 3. And I gotta say that victory that they had, it wasn't even, not even close. I mean, I'm trying to find the most mild way to put it, but I gotta give credit where credit is due. USTL really playing to the changes of preseason, and it's just a manifestation of things going full throttle.
It's actually quite amazing how they quickly adapted to the changes of the preseason. Also knowing one of the highest win rates, especially the Sona. And the Sona is one of the highest win rate supports as of now. And to pair that up with an Ezreal for sustained bot lane is something that I think Katsi did not prepare long enough for. And I would say for USTL, this is a well-deserved victory, and I would congratulate them again. But now, let's move on to Game 3 to see will USTL perform the same type of play they did in Game 2, where it ended very short.
Indeed. And you know what's interesting here is that ito yung, how do I put it? Ito yung complication in a way. Kapag back-to-back yung games mo, lalo na pag magkaiba yung kalaban mo, because having come off Game 2, andun yung advantage ng kalaban na, ito yung mga potential picks ng USTL kasi yun yung nakita natin kaya ng Ezreal, ng Sona, ng Vladimir. So may idea na yung kalaban ngayon kung ano yung mga pwedeng ilabas ng USTL. So ngayon, it's really on USTL right now. What more do they have up their sleeve to pull out in this Game 3?
But now looking at the schedule, we do see that in Game 3, obviously it's another back-to-back game as you said, Arctic, but I'm pretty excited to see how the drafting phase would turn out, because something that I'm always waiting for, always prepared to see what kind of draft these teams are going to go for and what are they aiming to pull off in this game. Because for USTL to pull off one of the highest win rates from the preseason itself, the Sona, is something that you know that this team is serious. They know what's the trend, they know what's going on, and now without any more delay, let's get straight to the drafting phase already in the last ban for Beacon University.
So there you have it for the bans. Talia, Azir, as well as the Thresh going to be banned out. Meanwhile, from the side of Beacon University, they'll be taking away the Rams and the Ezreal, no surprise, from both Bonanza and Changlin respectively. And the Shen going to be banned out from Ensu as well. That does leave the Sona open to take for Wushu, but looks like they will be opting for the Kennen instead.
Interesting choice for a top lane cannon. Could be a mid lane cannon, who knows? It's a very flexible pick that Beacon University has yet to find out. Could this be one of the OP picks that we were talking about for the preseason of Low?
But lo and behold,
okay, Varus is one of the highest win ADCs too, because the lethal tempo plus Varus is just ridiculous.
Ridiculous indeed.
Followed up by with the Quincer Rage Blade.
And looks like Discrepancy gonna take full advantage of that for himself potentially. We're still waiting that other pick. Mundo! Oh, I'm wondering, is that gonna be a lock-in on the Mundo for Bicol University? Dr. Mundo. Okay, so looks like it's gonna be a bit of a switcheroo to Jarvan the Fourth, and that will be locked in potentially for Blur. Not
could be another
sure.
flex pick.
Could be a flex pick. That actually makes me wonder whether or not sending Jarvan the Fourth towards top is impacted because of the preseason changes. But we'll just have to see. Looks like the Hecarim gonna be potentially taken by Bonanza. Hecarim, take note, was a banned champion earlier. So looks like this could be something that Bonanza is very much comfortable with. Looks like he will be taking that for himself. Alistar as well for Wushu. So you've been talking about these melee supports earlier and how they're in a way kind of
Coming back a bit more useful. It's the Guardian Keystone Mastery. The Guardian Rune Slot,
There
as
you
you
go.
should call it right now. That's pretty useful for the Alistar, but you can also go for the Shockwave, the one of the other keystones that you can get in the Resolve 3. So it's very adaptable. You can go anyway, and it's more sustainable for attack because you get the second wind. That provides a lot of regeneration when you're actually going for trades.
Indeed. And it's like going into the second banning phase, right? Oh, this Vladimir taken away from Jam. So, interesting pick there. I'm wondering if Rain will find the same success that Jam did during Game 2 earlier, but these bans, Twitch as well as the John, are going to be taken away from both SXL and Changlich respectively. Corki as well going to be taken. So that's a little bit more flex in a way because that Corki could technically still be sent to mid. And so 2 birds with 1 stone. You ban 1 champion, opt for 2 roles. It's like double support bans coming in from USTL though. Jana as well as the Lulu from XSL. So I'm wondering what XSL will be bringing into the table in this case, because overall that is a total of 3 support champions banned from him.
So far, I would say, yeah, I have to agree with you on that for Rain. They did remove the Vladimir, but this gives USTL the opportunity to counterpick against this Vladimir. And I think this is something that USTL should look for. And for Beacon University, they have to be smart for picking their last champions. Obviously, this could be Jungle Jarvan and the top lane Trundle. And now it will be a Vayne against the Varus. Interesting. Who will be their mid laner? Or top laner?
Yeah, indeed. We're just waiting for that last pick coming in from Gem, unless they have some sort of cheese wherein they send Kennen mid, but I highly doubt that. Looks like it is going to be the Malzahar. Malzahar is one of those champions which we have seen used during Worlds, the finals, 3 times into a 3-0. So we'll go ahead and see if this will be a charm for Jam as well. We're still waiting for that last pick coming in from SXL. Whether it could be a support, I highly doubt this will be flexed into a Trundle support. You know, we don't really see that anymore. So we're just waiting on that last pick for SXL.
I don't think we should see it anymore because this is a preseason we are talking about, and it will take.
I think I have to hold off real quick. Is that going to be a lock-in?
I don't think so. But I don't think that's going to be a lock-in for the Malphite. This is just going to be a hover, and Trundle does belong in the top lane for now because of the Undying Grasp. And I think this will be a changeover to the Rakan. This will be the Rakan support paired up with the Varus. So this is something that I would say that is Beagle University's composition looking pretty solid. But for University of Santo Tomas, Legazpi, the Legazpi Ligers will be having another game. Let's hope that they do have a good game and they do have the momentum from the first game moving on to the third game.
Indeed. So there you have it, guys, with both rosters having locked in their champions. Who do you guys think is going to be taking this home? Will USTL be leading themselves into another victory? That would be a great way to start off your weekend, I'd say, if they do manage to go for a 2-0. Or will Bicol University upset that into a 1-1? Let us know in the chat from wherever you're watching, whether it be Facebook or YouTube. You know, always good to keep the conversation going, guys.
And also the fact that this is going to be a game where if they do want to end it in a good weekend, the students really have a long break.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the SEN. So this is something that USTL has a lot of riding on. I mean, want to have a good game, 2 wins in 1 day is something that any team would die for. And I think for USTL, they would work for this achievement and perhaps maybe having a good time celebrating their victory.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But let's go ahead and review these champions real quick. I mean, earlier we did see just how potent this Vladimir here is in the hands of Jam. But then again, it was up against Agalio. And we have talked about how, you know, it doesn't matter how initially tanky champions are at times, but
it's how you build that matters
yes,
the
exactly. And overall, going up against a Malzahar, it is a different story because it is a mage versus a mage this time around. And Malzahar does pack a bit more damage himself as well. Does have a little bit of a slower time though within the first 6 levels because you do want to wait until those later parts when your Malefic Visions is able to clear out waves a little bit more faster. So this, from what I estimate here, this could be much more of an advantage for Rain going up against Jam within the first few minutes. So I'm interested in seeing how this will go because, ayun nga, gaya ng sabi ko guys, yung importance talaga ng simula ng game, yung first 6 minutes, sometimes it will really dictate the flow, as we did see earlier during Game 2.
I mean, that was such a that was already a solid evidence that the preseason does rely on early game more, and if you have a really good early game, the late game will just be in your favor. I mean, 14,000 goal lead at 22 minutes in, that's a huge deficit, and no team can actually come back from that. And the fact that they had the Baron buff, so everything was in favor of the enemy team and the opposing team. So right now for USTL, let's see if they will still have the same type of playstyle, same glory they did in Game 2.
Indeed. But let's go ahead and review these matchups. Cannon versus Trundle, there is that rage advantage going on for the Cannon there. I mean, before Trundle could even get into him, all he has is to ease himself right away. So there's a lot of flexibility with Ensu. You know, I'm definitely estimating a better time for Ensu in this top lane. And then at the same time, there is going to be a little bit of a struggle for Jam though, because he is going to feel the pain of that Vladimir, a little bit more of a harass while he tries to farm up. And I'm kind of worried because the nature of Malzahar is that you don't really see as much action from him, I'd say, especially going up against a Vladimir.
He's just going to be playing safely until he's level 6, has the advantage to control, and just burst down and will on the Vladimir, because nothing can counter a Vladimir more than something that can suppress you down. You don't have the mobility, you don't have the sustain, so that's everything is removed when you're suppressed.
Pero gaya nga ng sinabi mo, Vulcan, you said how he has to play it a bit more safer in the lane. But that's the tricky part right here considering the preseason. Does he have the luxury to play safe within the first few minutes of the game before he hits level 6? Because sometimes before hitting level 6, that could be the determining factor for Jam as to whether or not he could keep up or would he fall behind into irrelevance in the later parts of the game. And that's something that you don't want to happen right now, considering the pace of all these games that we've been seeing thus far, with the changes having just rolled in last Thursday.
And I would say for the, as you said, the Vladimir, the Malzahar will have a really easy time trading up thanks to its passive. And I think when it comes to the mid lane, it's in favor for USTL. But let's see, will Beacon University take it down with Jam's very own Vladimir, which won them Game 2 once we load up onto the Rift. So once again, guys, this is the Garena LOL Collision League Summer 2017 Challenge What You Know.
So there you have a challenge. This is actually, buti bringing up ulit yung tagline natin for also. Challenge What You Know, because truly this is a challenge of what you know of League of Legends right now in order to adapt to the preseason. And we're just going to have to see, because Game 2, very clear in USTL, they are aware of what they could exploit as of the preseason. Question is, does Beacon University have that same knowledge, per se? We'll just have to see, man. But I like the Trundle designated because there is one of the runes right now wherein it definitely has an advantage when shoving structures. Kaya feeling...
Demolish?
Yeah, demolish. So I'm interested in seeing just how potent that is with this Trundle, because we do know Trundle for having that split push prowess as well. So I'm wondering if there could be a potential heavy siege as far as split pushes. But then again, considering the nature of the preseason pa rin, wherein you kind of want to be, you really want to topple over your opponent into irrelevance and get that lead. So I'm wondering if that Trundle will be given the luxury of split pushing.
When it comes to split pushing, that Trundle, yes, I have to agree. The Demolish really scales well with tanks who don't build a lot of AD but still can destroy towers thanks to the Demolish Keystone. I don't know what to call it. Is it a Keystone? Is it a Mastery? Or is it a Rune?
Well,
so it's called a Rune, right? But the first thing you pick is called a Keystone. But without any more confusion of what we know, let's get straight to Game 3 of the LCL. A game between USTL, the Legazpi Laggers, versus Beacon University of Shave.
Shave, that's an interesting team name. And Yeah, I kind of need to shave myself probably when I get home. But going into this game right now, man, looks like Jam. Ooh, he actually has the little pet with him.
30 seconds until minions.
So
I mean, ever since Runes Reforged, everyone has a pet nowadays. So
Yeah.
Janna feels less special.
oh yeah.
So in a way that you become a less special snowflake.
Yeah. You know, Janna doesn't feel as special. Lulu, well, probably a little bit of consolation to Lulu because Lulu is much more stronger now. So it doesn't matter if she could potentially even have 2 pets with the changes. So good for her. Good for her. But overall, looks like there won't be any invades coming in from both sides for the meantime. You know. And let's go ahead and look up this matchup here. We weren't able to touch on the bot lane, Vulcan. So this Vayne and Alistar versus Averus and Rakan. This is very delicate because with this Vayne, it's going to be much more interesting because we do know that Vayne has a little bit of a trickier time within the first few minutes of this game as well. And, you know, Vayne is that hyper carry that really just goes crazy going into the late game. And we've been talking about whether or not these teams have the luxury of waiting until the late game to really pop off. Unless Changlin could find a way to pop up on this game in the earlier phases, we're just going to have to see if that will be an opportunity for USTL.
I mean, for the opportunities for USTL to actually show, they have to make it happen in a way that, let's see, will we see another play style where USTL will show us how to use the changes of their preseason? But right now, I'm not sure what this Jarvan is doing. Blur is a bit indecisive. He has total control of this, and he just resets the red buff. Very close. He could have gotten it if he did not force the reset, but he will be face checking. Bonanza is there, and I think Bonanza will be happily taking away a free leash from this Jarvan.
Blur tries to go for the...
Oh, Blur just chokes under the pressure. Her flash and the Damashi Saturn combo. Now he might just give the first blood. The blue buff goes to... Oh no, the first blood will be going to the Vladimir, but Jam will be getting the blue buff. But the double buff does go to Rain. Here comes the Knuckle. Ignited. This will be Jam getting the double kill.
Oh man, what is it with this preseason and all these early multiple kills across the board here? That will be great for Rain right now. Now 2-0, great start on this Vladimir, not to mention having gotten a kill on his mid lane counterpart. And take note, Jam, both summoners are down for him, so this might be a little bit more trickier for him, especially as a Malzahar. So this is something that we'll have to look out for, guys, going into the later parts of the game. Whether or not this could be a detriment for USTL. And this is what I've been talking about right here. This is something that you don't want to happen when you're a Vladimir that is bound to struggle against a Vladimir within the first few minutes of the game. And overall, we're just going to have to see if Bicol University can pick up the pace with this advantage that they have in the mid lane.
With an advantage, I would say that, I mean, first blood and 1 kill plus the double buff. This Vladimir is going to be skyrocketing all throughout the mid game. I mean, early game for him is done. He already has the Hex Tech Revolver. And I think for trading, Jam is going to have a really bad time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it's clear, very clear right now, just looking at the CS, 13 to 23. That's quite significant. I mean, that's 2 waves of a difference up for Rain here in this mid lane. And Jam himself, it's already a struggle when you're trying to farm as a Vladimir until such time you get fuller levels on that Malefic Vision. So this is just going to be really up to Bonanza to try to balance things out, whether or not he decides to rotate towards mid or maybe try to make things happen across other lanes. But meanwhile, towards this top side, Enzu, this is what you'd expect in a Kennen versus Trundle matchup. Just the range in itself grants Enzu that huge advantage, but at the same time, take note that regardless, Enzu is about a wave down in comparison to Squid Goals here in the top lane. So overall, looking at the bigger picture here, Bicol University definitely has a better stance right now, considering the composition and where they're at right now in this game.
Yes, when it comes to, I will have to agree with you on that for the stand, but that can be easily overthrown by any mistakes. The mistakes that We thought that BU made more in the clash in the red side did happen, but what happened there was Beagle University made it out on top. They had more gold, more kills, and more snowballing items for this Vladimir. So I wonder how this Mauser is going to cope, and not to mention this Hecarim is going to have a really hard time ganking a Vladimir.
Indeed. And we've been talking about in previous games how this Vladimir, it could get pretty annoying when you're trying to go up against him, and even more so when you're a jungler that wants to try to gank him, because sometimes that one Sanguine Pool can just throw off your gank entirely when used as an escape tool. And Rain has all the luxury in the world right now to just topple over Jam in this case. And Bonanza, even when if he tries to get a ram in onto Rain here, all it takes is that one
Jam's
Sanguine
very
Pool.
low. He will be giving a kill.
Ooh.
Again, this is going to be the killing spree, and this is the penalty for giving 2 kills to a Vladimir very early to the game.
And this is going to be tricky for the rest of USTL overall. Sure, Jam is the one that's directly suffering in lane, but you have to take note that USTL is running a Vayne. And with this Vayne right now, if ever this heads into a clash in the current state, then Rain just going to, no pun intended, but he's just going to take full reign of these clashes, because Changlin not really in a position right now to really deal with that type of a lean, especially a 3-0 Vladimir to boot for Bicol University. And looking at this right now, Hextech Protobelt already completed for Rain. He's just going to pressure Jam and just going to bully him like there's no tomorrow.
Yes, this is going to be a battle of the melee supports in the bot lane, but looks like Rakan will be flashing away. He's ignited, and that will be the kill for Changlin. SXL gets taken down, and wow, leaving behind Varus. And that would be its double kill. I think an unneeded teleport.
This is the beauty of the Vayne. Sure, we've been talking about how the Vayne is somewhat vulnerable within the early phases of the game, but because of these changes in Aura's damage, definitely complements him a lot more. That, in a way, it makes up for her squishiness and vulnerability in the early parts of the game.
And she just deals so much damage with the press the attack.
Just the raw damage as is. And that's something that we actually neglected to realize when going up against this Varus and Rakan here, and we've seen how squishy that Rakan is for SXL there. And this is just Rakan suffering right now with these recent changes, and it's very unfortunate. But overall, as far as what this means for USTL, that does give them a glimmer of hope despite the lead that Rain has right now.
The lead that he is still maintaining. He finished up his Proto Belt, already getting the stopwatch. So this is going to be a very easy zone, yes. I mean, the stasis is very priceless, and something that I would say it's normal to pick up. And when you're this ahead, go ahead. I mean, 73 CS to 48, KDA of 3 to 1-2. That's something that I think Rain has nothing to worry about.
Not at all.
For now.
But still, it is equal 3 on the board. And this does give a platform for Chang Lynch to really balance things back out despite Jam suffering in the mid lane. And we have seen during Game 2 just how potent an AD carry Chang Lynch is in general. So definitely eyes on him to make up for Jam right now. Jam definitely did his work during Game 2. So Chang Lynch, what is it with all these puns coming naturally? He's just going to have to rise up to the challenge right now that he's in as the potential person that could turn things around. And I feel like USTL, they're definitely within capacity to turn things around because going into these team fights, sure, Bicol University, they could try to focus Jam, but then again, there's so many ways they could get canceled out because of Enzo, because of Bonanza. Kennen and a Hecarim initiating into these clashes. So if they could chain those CCs, then it was just give free way for both Jam and Chang Lynch to just deal damage across the board for Bicol University. Which is why I feel like, especially for Rain, it's really a scenario for him to sanguine pool his way out of the CC that could come out of USTL so that he could deal the max damage that he can.
Yes, and for something to come naturally has to be in you. So I think you yourself is a walking pun, Arctic.
Oh, man.
So far, for the game itself, 10 minutes into the game, kill score 3-3. The Infernal Drink has yet to be taken away. But I think we can just force it. Force the Ligers to be in a very bad spot, make them feel uncomfortable, like a very awkward first date. Don't make eye contact, don't even talk. That's what Bicol University should do to the Legazpi Ligers. Make them feel scared that the Vladimir is there. I mean, 3-0-0 right now is huge when you're talking about the preseason changes.
Oh, ano masasabi niyo mga kaibigan? Not only are you getting a few tips on the LCL, but dating 101 from Vulcan as well.
And that's something that you're not supposed to do, so it's not really a dating tip.
No, this in general, really. Fact of life. But still, Enzu, I gotta give my kudos to Squid Goals. Kasi even though he's just getting poked out like there's no tomorrow from Enzu, as far as the CS.
Oh, actually, that's one thing I forgot to point out. But hold that thought. I think he should have went back to recover, and he pays the price for his overcommitment, overstay. And you were just talking about his CS.
Yeah.
So when it comes
I take that back now.
Yeah. When it comes to CS, it's easier to CS under the turret thanks to the recent AD and plus more stats to your AD or AP. So it's really easy to farm CS when you start with the Doran's play. I mean, you can even get the caster minions after the turret hits it once. Normally you can't do that, but now you can.
Oh, looks like Squid Goals gonna be going for the adaptive.
Oh wow, very quick. Already rushing it.
But that's a disadvantage. Well, I wouldn't say it's a heavy disadvantage as far as him sustaining against Enzu, but that does cancel out on some of the advantages you do have as a Trundle as far as sieging turrets. Which I guess, in a way, he's not. We mentioned this is a position that the Trundle may not be in, considering the nature of the preseason, and that might be the case right now. Having built up that adaptive home might be leading to a Tiamat potentially afterwards. I do see that first item that could potentially lead to that, but we will see what Squid Goals decides to go for. But overall, it's quite tricky because as far as the balance of power in this game, clearly for Bicol University, there's a lot that USTL has to deal with from Rain alone. But at the same time, even though that's a mid lane deficiency, across the other lanes for both top and bottom, that's where USTL is thriving right now through this Kennen, through this Vayne. So it's all a matter of whether or not this Kennen invade could propel things for USTL, or will Rain just wreak havoc during these clashes. But then again, as far as the numbers, 2 is better than 1. And it's better to have 2 people that are up than just one person that you don't want to rely on too much, especially if that one person is caught up in quite a blur.
Yeah, especially the fact that when this Vayne gets taken out, who's going to be the next damage leader? They have to account for that, and they need this. Oh boy, look at that. Ooh, Blur again, a bit too ambitious in his quest to invade the enemy jungle.
And like a Blur, he fades away. Yeah. Oh yeah. But still, 5-3 right now. USTL, this is what I'm talking about right here.
And if I had to rate how your jokes are, it's like the KFC chili cheese. It looks good at first, but when you taste it, it's not as good.
It's good! I disagree with you right there. Okay, that's up for debate, but still. Well, then again, I'm a cheese person, but I don't know.
It tastes like Cheese Whiz for me. You just dip Cheese Whiz with KFC chicken. And right now, I think this Vayne is that Cheese Whiz dip, and he wants to dip himself onto the virus. Okay, that was weird.
Yeah.
Now I'm making the fun as you are, because you are affecting me.
Yeah, it's like the malefic visions that's happening right now. But let's go ahead and see what's happening here. The tricky part here for Bicol University is that slowly Bicol University is handing ways for Jam to get back into this game. And one of those was Blur getting caught out right there. And now Jam, 2-2 on this Malzahar, slowly getting back into his groove. And that's the tricky part right there. If this keeps up for USTL, Bicol University, they're going to miss out on that plus that they had earlier with Rain getting that 3-0. That could ultimately get voided out if the rest of USTL starts picking up the weight for themselves.
When you're talking about picking up their own weight, it's very difficult to talk about who has the majority of the responsibility here. It's obvious to say that it's the ADC, but is that the right way to say it? could be the tank itself, could be the support. It's how you picture the game flow. And so far, I'm seeing the itemizations of these teams. It's a common fact that you would normally always get your main item first. After that, what follows? We see champions, we see players in previous games. They get another offensive items like the Gnar. What happened to the Gnar? Instantly gets bursted out, has no magic resistance. Gets the Black Reaver, gets the Frozen Mallet, does not get any MR, and right now, looks like this Alistar is in bit trouble if he keeps standing on top of that ward. And Blur is looking for some blood. There is a control ward, so the laggers have no vision on that brush.
Wow, this is very interesting right now. USTL, well, this is definitely a game that's going a little bit more even than what we saw earlier. But as far as...
Generation coming in, and there is the knockup, but that's actually a great response for the Alistar. But the damage that the Varus is doing is just too much.
Indeed, great topple. Great collapse coming in from Bicol University, and looks like it will be a 3-man siege. Wushu may have to get that up as first turret will potentially be going to the side of Bicol University. An easy take that is indeed, and this could be also the bonus of sieging the dragon. And man, oh man, this is definitely good for Bicol. This is one of those games which really goes to a point where you can't quite figure out how it's going to go. But overall, with what we've been talking about earlier, as far as if University of Santo Tomas Legazpi could wait it out until the later parts of the game, then this Vayne is just going to be a pain in the butt for Bicol University. And we'll just have to see. We've been talking about opportunity to scale into that late game, but with things going even so far, that may potentially be an opportunity because there's no clear lead just yet for either side.
Man, I was actually expecting for UST Legazpi to snowball into this game, but right now they are going to collapse. It looks like the Ice Pillar was a bit awkward, but enough time for this Trundle to survive that tower dive. Looks like the adaptive helmet will be benefiting this Trundle. A worthy investment.
Yep, worthy indeed. And yeah, I mean, even though he compensates in a way for that heavy siege that he could have gotten, easily makes up for it by the survivability. And overall, Enzo is in an awkward position where he can't take out Squid Bulls as easily as he did earlier. And looks like the lane swap has happened for both Discrepancy and SXL. Oh no!
I don't know what he was thinking. That's a plain sight kill for this Varus. That's a very easy kill. And I think Discrepancy will be just taking it away.
Yep. And take note, that was a smart move coming in from Discrepancy and SXL. They knew that Enzo's ultimate was down and heavily capitalized on that. And that's the beauty of Discrepancy's ultimate at the same time. We did see him use it earlier, and that ultimate generally has a pretty decent cooldown. So overall, working in Discrepancy's favor is something that USTL has to take into account. As you said earlier, as Vulcan discussed during Game 1, it's really about thinking of the kit of your enemy and thinking before you acting. Think before you act, General. It looks like Wushu going to try for something here, trying to get the chase on these.
That's too ambitious. They should back off. It looks like Changlesh is a bit trouble. 3 members collapsing onto this Vayne. Blur gets the easy kill. And now 3 members on the top side. The Baron will be live in 40 seconds. There are no objectives to take in the top side. And now look at Bicol University focusing onto the bot lane. Here comes Flash in onto 2 members. That is a lot of damage. No resistances from Discrepancy. And now XXL forced to back off.
Indeed, forced to back off. And this will be a turret towards bot lane, though. That's an inner bot turret to boot as we head into the 20-minute mark. Baron is just about to go up now. So,
oh boy, look at him. Look at his life drain away, but he can easily get it back. See how much damage this Vladimir is dealing. He is on a rampage, and I gotta say, this Vladimir is popping off.
And that's the tricky part when you're up against a Vladimir. Even as a Malzahar, if you notice, sagad pang full combo yung ginawa ni Jam. But right after that, once that Nether Grasp went down, once it ended for its duration, Rain just sustaining back what damage he took. Sure, it wasn't really as full, but was more than enough to just counter attack onto Jam, and that was just generally another kill. And with Rain right now, 4-0 and 1 on
man.
Vladimir.
This is like the same game as Game 2, but except USTL has the tables turned, where this Vladimir is the one really skating so well. It's very powerful, very painful, and no resistances has yet to be picked up except for Bonanza with the Ages of the Leisure.
This will be tricky for University of Santo Tomas Legazpi right now. But if you notice, Vulcan, from all these plays that we've been seeing thus far, it's really more of everybody collapsing onto whoever they can. And from what I see here, as far as CC lockdown, USTL has it. But if we're going to come off with the damage output, Rain just could wreak havoc onto all the members of the USTL. So I think it's all a matter of playing your cards right in these fights. It's not about just pulling the trigger. It's all about execution as well for both sides. And Rain is clearly one of those key members that you don't want to falter early on in these fights. But then again, he's a Vladimir, so that's a highly unlikely possibility.
Well, I mean, it depends how you picture this Vladimir to be. If it's going to be the one constantly dealing damage, you're a fool if you don't build any MR. Not respecting the Vladimir itself, but that's one way to counter the Vladimir.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, instead of building MR, why don't you just delete the Vladimirs? And you don't need to buy MR at all. This is the beauty of the preseasons, where you can improvise and adapt and overcome. But looks like this Hecarim will be trying to overcome this Varus, but that's just too much. But here comes the cannon with a slashing maelstrom. Now the USTL, the Ligers, taking away 3 members for 2 members in exchange.
Man, and with all said and done, all the action happening across the board, still equal 9 and 9. This is
going to be a very long game. And the one thing that I observe with preseason is that when a game is short, it's short. But when a game is long, oh hell, it's going to go until 40 minutes, 38 minutes, because at this point we are seeing these champions skating off well, but it depends if they wish to at least end in the 30-minute mark. But I would say 35 minutes, this game could go until 35 minutes.
But from what we've been seeing here, across the board, across these last few minutes, they've just been skirmishes. 3v2s, 2v4s. We haven't seen those full 5v5s yet. I feel like once we do see a full 5v5, that's where the scale will really tip into someone's favor. And looks like Mountain Drake going to be taken once again for Bicol University. That's going to be beautiful considering the composition that they have, especially with the Trundle on their side. Even though the Trundle hasn't built damage, just the double Mountain Drake in itself easily makes up for that. And Squid Goals, definitely a good... Luck is definitely on his side right now.
Don't you mean the Infernal Drake? The Infernal Drake and the Mountain Drake synergize pretty well together. And the next Drake will be another Mountain Drake. That will be the second Mountain Drake. And if Bicol University takes this away, that Trundle doesn't even to join the team fights. He can just single-handedly push the entire lane and win them maybe the more map control.
Ooh. This will be very, very good. But let's go ahead and check out one transpire earlier. So Blur actually managing to catch out Jam here. Goes full on Cataclysm, and it was just the damage. Man, oh man. Jam just not catching a break. And now 2-4-1 on this Vladimir.
Man, I gotta say.
Or Malzahar, rather.
2-4-1 on Malzahar, yes. 4-1 on the Vladimir. What's going to happen for the Ligers? They're not taking the steps to build any MR. It's just this hacker, but the Solari, yes, it's a good defensive item. But shouldn't you try and get, let's say, a Banshee's Veil? But this Vladimir already picking up defensive items like the Armseeker's Guard, already getting the Zonia's Hourglass.
Not the best position to be, but looks like this could be another collapse.
Oh, looks like the Fear will be connecting onto this Virus. That's a collapse inside the Slicing Maelstrom. It ran out. Looks like the Ligers ran out of damage. And Discrepancy will be fighting back with his own. And here comes help from Jab, but he's too scared to go forward. There's no one to assist him. This will be Bicol University just shoving the lanes, showing their dominant, sustained power.
Are they going to go for the Baron, though? That would be an interesting call.
That's a bad call. That's a 50-50 right there.
Indeed.
They're still going to go for it. Discrepancy is very low. He's an easy target for the Hecarim.
Onslaught of Shadows.
Okay, this is bad.
Is down though.
Beacon University should back away or should stop this Baron. Otherwise, they're going to lose everything. Okay, they're not going to back away. So they are willing to risk lose everything. And I think, yes, yeah, that's what I said. They're going to lose everything. The Baron can work against you. Bane goes in. What did I just say? Beacon University
This is going to be the turn.
being this force, trying to be this dominant force, but cannot yield. Cannot even yield to USTL. They don't even accept the fact that this Bowser can still buff up. There's still this Bane.
Indeed, and that will be the Baron going to University of Santa
God,
Cruz.
this is so frustrating to see that the Baron can always work against you or with you. And for teams such as BU, who had a really good start, really good advantage, just threw that away because maybe they were impatient, maybe the shot calling was a bit bad, they were incomplete. But let's see a detailed fight on what happened in the replay.
Yeah, Jam. Initiating the fight with no another grasp right there, and at this point it's really notice how the members of Pico University, sure, they deal a lot of damage, but then again they were taking quite a bit of damage themselves from the Baron take. And take note, it was the squishier members that were concurring the damage, not the tankier members, but it was the squishier members, and the rest, the tankier members, just ultimately left them led for dead in that fight. And overall, this is just going to be great for USTL. This could potentially propel them into the victory, but it all comes down to how they utilize this Baron buff and what configuration they decide to go for as far as the siege happening for them. Looks like all 5 of them will be going for bot lane though, and they go for the initiate. Discrepancy is going to be going down. Another suppressed target. That's going to be Enzo getting the kill onto SXL. 2 members of Pico University make that 3, and this may potentially be a cleanup though. The rest are trying to go for Squid Ghost as well as Rain. That will be Changlich getting the kill. Only that Vladimir to survive, but no, he'll be going down. That will be an ace. 1 for 5 in favor of Pico, or rather in favor of University of Santo Tomas Legazpi, and this will be potentially the game.
What did I always say? Do not mess with the Baron. Do not underestimate the Baron pit. Just because you had first come first serve basis doesn't mean you'll get your table. Now look at the results of it. This is the results of not properly calculating how a Baron should be played. But now, just like USTL, they're looking for more opportunities. But whoa, could this be USTL securing the game? I think so, without any delay. A reverse just because they can, despite Pico University having the Baron, taking it down. That will be game.
Ang masasabi ko lang dyan, happy weekend USTL Legazpi.
What did I say? I keep saying the same thing always. Just because Pico University, they had the first come first serve basis on the Baron. USTL just took that all away. That Bane, they weren't even respecting the Bane. All of them were so low on health. That was something that maybe I hope they do not repeat.
No.
But let's congratulate USTL Legazpi Ligers for winning their 2nd game. This makes it their 2 wins in 1 day. I'm pretty sure they feel very happy. They deserve a long weekend.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, after having coming off a defeat the previous day, you know, going back even stronger today and Saturday, having done their homework, really playing well, man.
That's what you want to see in the LCL team, but I gotta say, I have more expectations on the upcoming games in Game 4, Game 5 and 6, but there you have it first. Let's conclude a very exciting game for USTL coming out on top for Game 3. Congratulations to the Legazpi Ligers for winning their victory. Winning their victory? That's redundant. Winning their game against Pico University Shave. So there you guys have it. We are your Shoutcasters. My name is Vulcan, and with me is Arctic. See you after the short break. Maelstrom, and right now looks like the Ligers ran out of damage, and Discrepancy will be fighting back with his own. Okay, they're not going to back away. So they are willing to risk lose everything. And I think, yes, yeah, that's what I said. They're going to lose everything. The Baron can work against you. Bane goes in. What did I just say? Pico University
This is going to be the turn. Go for the initiate. Discrepancy is going to be going down. Another suppressed target. That's going to be Enzo getting the kill onto SXL. 2 members of Pico University make that 3. And this may potentially be a cleanup though. The rest are trying to go for Squid Ghost as well as Rain. That will be Changlich getting the kill. Only that Vladimir to survive. But no, he'll be going down. That will be an ace.
Not properly calculating how a Baron should be played. But now, just like USTL, they're looking for more opportunities. But whoa, could this be USTL securing the game? I think so, without any delay. a reverse just because they can, despite Bicol University having the Baron, taking it down.
Not enough Garena shells to buy the latest League of Legends skin? On sale now? Get shells anytime, anywhere with your Globe or Touch mobile number. Go to gamer.com.ph and sign up with your mobile number and enter the verification code you will receive via SMS. Log in and choose the game and pin you want. Check out to purchase the pin with your load or through your postpaid account and receive the pin on your phone instantly. Never miss a sale on your favorite League of Legends skins and champions with Gamer.